All right. Today I want to talk to y'all about morality. A question that's been asked to me many times when I was younger is Christianity. I've only been in this for about 6 years, but I heard it a lot more at the beginning than I did now. Can an atheist be moral? The answer is no, because you have no basis for your morality. Everything you say and do is based on your opinions. There's nothing backing it beyond yourself. And I'm going to go into three reasons why. First reason is that fact that it's based on your opinions. I'll go to examples. Hitler believed that Jews were a stain on the earth, even so much so to call them a disease. How is he wrong? Stalin believed that the elites are better than the poor, and that the poor are just cannon fodder that should be not worried about. How is he wrong? The woman who invented or not invented, but brought up Planned Parenthood did it for the sake of killing black children because she believed that they were inferior. It was for the sake of eugenics. How is she wrong? You have all these opinions on what's right and what's wrong. Whether we're talking about feminism, whether we're talking about masculinity, whether we're talking about murder, whether we're talking about stealing, whether we're talking about helping the poor or hindering the poor, or drugs, or should they be allowed, should they not? You have no justification for why what you believe is wrong, except for you believe that, well, it deteriorates human people, it takes away from human people. That's not a justification. Murder has is completely opposite of that. So what if you're taking other people's lives? That's the whole point in murder, is taking other people's lives. So you have no justification if you're comparing to Hitler. Well, everyone knows it in society. Well, everyone in society in Germany knew it. Literally convinced the whole country to ban against the minority in their country, to put them in concentration camps. So the majority of society agreed with it. That's the first. There's no justification. Secondly, we can see from the pattern. Look at what happened from the time that we took Bibles out of schools to now. At first, we had morality. We had consequences for actions and teaching people to do right. Then we take Bibles out of schools. Then we start teaching other things. Then we get to gay marriage, even though there's civil unions. Why didn't you just expand civil unions? Why did you specifically want to take over marriage? Because it was never about the union. It was about having the benefits of religion without the requirements. If you really only cared about the taxes and what you get in a union, you could have expanded civil unions. Civil is society, marriage is religious. That's the difference. That's why you can have marriages even when there's no legal part in a country to do so, because it's a religious thing. Always has been. Now you're trying to combine society and religion. Wait, wasn't there supposed to be separation of church and state? Yeah, that's the second part. We go into these patterns. Like I said, then you go to gay marriage. Then from gay marriage, you go to the point of the trans community. Now we have gotten so far that you don't even know if a man is a man or woman is a woman. You say that a man could have periods. You say that a woman could give sperm. And then at the same time, you say there's no binary. Well, your idea is self defeating. If there is no such thing as a man, and if there is no such thing as a woman, you cannot become what doesn't exist. Even if you get a sex change all your hormones, you get some best breast implants, and I've seen some real convincing ones, and most of y'all don't even do what's necessary to be convincing. Even if you do that, your chromosomes are still male, or your chromosomes are still female. Whatever you were at birth, that's what it is. You're not assigned male at birth. You're not assigned female at birth. You are discovered male or discovered female because they look at your genitalia and they look at your chromosomes. And sometimes there's an intersex. Sometimes there's people who have a little bit of both. But even amongst those, there is always a dominant one. So, with that being said, we don't even, and that's not even what they're talking about. They're saying it's just how you feel inside. It goes back to the morality. Well, it's just how you feel inside. So, how can you say they're wrong? The reason we got to this so far, and it's only going further, there have now been kids at gay pride parties and parades where they have people dressed in BDSM. That is literal sexual things. I have seen videos here on YouTube with women, no, kids, little girls, wearing a choker on their neck while a father is doing a fake tattoo on her leg. You think this isn't interacting with the kids? The point is that we have evidence that the further we go from God, the further we go from morality. So, thirdly, historically, we know where Sodom and Gomorrah is. We know where Noah's Ark is. We know where Moses split the sea. You can go to these places right now. We know where Jesus' tomb is. We have writings from other leaders of other countries talking about how they defeated David from the Bible. We have physical evidence of things of the Bible that you could go to and see in person today. But yet the Bible's false? Based on what? Well, it was written by man because of the inspiration of God. Can you find a contradiction? Every time I see videos with contradictions, I go to where they say there's a contradiction. And you know what I end up finding? They're lying and deceptive. The words will not be in context. One even said that there was a barn for 400 or 4,000 horses, and then another verse said that there was a barn that had 40 horses. For and have, those are two different things. One is purpose, one is actual what's going on, reality. If I say that I have a house with 5 bedrooms, and then I say I have a house with 3 people in bedrooms, where 3 bedrooms are used, I still have a house with 5 bedrooms. Just only 3 people are in. I have a house for 5 people, but I have a house with 5 people. See the difference? With and for are not the same. So, in the same aspect with this, as towards the Christian Bible, like I said, the third thing, we got rid of the Bible in the second thing, and there's no justification in the first thing. So, your whole sense of morality is based on opinions. Well, if it's all based on opinions, why is your opinion that gay marriage is right more moral than my opinion that gay marriage is wrong? Why is a pedophile's opinion that he should be able to be with kids wrong when I believe that he should not be even near kids? Why am I right? I have justification religiously. You have no justification. Your whole morality, it's not moral. And without the godly influence, there is a pedophile pride flag. And we see in movies and we see in other things where they're having kids with adults showing more and more. How much longer before they say it's okay for a 30-year-old to be with a 13-year-old? In California, they just made it okay for a 24-year-old to be with a 14-year-old. They had a law that only allowed for anal and oral, which is still wrong. That they were not required to be put on the list for like sex offenders. It was up to the judge. They could have fixed it by saying, well, that's not right. If you're 24 with a 14-year-old, you need to be put on the list regardless. Instead, here's they're fixing it. Now anal is included on the list. So if it's anal, if it's oral, if it's vaginal, it doesn't matter. It's up to the judge. Maybe you won't go on the list. Maybe you're friends with the judge. Maybe you won't even get jail time. Maybe in a situation you were just caught up in a moment. So, with all that being said, you can't say you have morals. California is a perfect example. The more you go away from God, the less and less and less morality you have. And finally, I want to talk about the live and let live doctrine. This doctrine, this way of life of living, of live and let live, is the cause of the problem. Live and let live doesn't work if it's only one sided. We, the Christians, live and let live. Oh, well, they're just doing that over there. Don't worry about it. But enough is never enough for them. First, it was, well, we just want gay marriage because we want equal rights. Marriage is not a right, it's a religious act. You don't have the right. If somebody is gay and married, the same as if somebody is having sex outside of marriage, you have a physical capability of having sex outside of marriage that don't make it right. You see all these failed relationships? When people get married and they're not even thinking about compatibility, we're not in an age like they were in Bible times where morality was a known thing. If somebody was immoral, they was immoral, period. If somebody was moral, they was moral, period. There was no in between. Nowadays, everything's so conflated as one. So the point is, the further we go from God, the further we go from actual morality. And we see this in action, we see it in consequences, we see this in how we treat each other. And it's always live and let live, live and let live, and I'm the bigot because you're imposing your views on me. Isn't that backwards? The bigot is not the person who lives and let lives, which is what we Christians do. The bigot is the one trying to force you to accept. I need to not only accept that a man could be a woman, I need to approve of that. It's scientifically false. It is historically false. And what you say a man is or a woman is based on stereotypes. It has nothing to do with what an actual man is or woman is. It's based on stereotypes. Titties, makeup, muscles, penis. Which part of that is actual man or woman? The penis, the breast, makeup? No. Femininity? No. There are feminine men. There are men who like playing with dolls when they're kids. There are boys who like shiny things when they're kids. There are women, we used to call them tomboys. There are women who like doing masculine things when they were kids. Masculine or feminine does not make you man or woman. It makes you a masculine man or feminine man, or a masculine woman or a feminine woman. But your chromosomes and your genitalia, that is what tells you. But now you could put fake tits on, you could put a fake penis on. It still doesn't do it. If you have fake tits, just like a supermodel with fake tits, they're not squishy, they're not real, they may feel similar. If you have a fake penis, it can't produce sperm. A fake tits can't produce can't produce milk. You can't lactate with fake tits. Unless y'all gonna start injecting milk into it just so you could, oh, I'm lactating. You'd have to fake it. You'd have to assist to make it do it. And even then, it's not real. It doesn't do what the body does. A A male produces sperm. Male has the XY chromosome. A woman produces eggs or has eggs. A woman has an XX chromosome. Whether she can get pregnant or not is irrelevant to the fact of her chromosomes and her body parts, ovaries versus balls. They may look similar if you look at a diagram, but they are not the same. A clitoris versus a penis. They may look similar on a diagram. And for micropenis people, I'm just saying, for them, it might look the same. No offense. No offense. But the point is, they are not the same. Some women have very large clits. Some men have very small penises. But the fact is that they're not the same. They have different effects, different things that go on. They have similar effects in maybe peeing, but ejaculation, sperm, that's only men can do that. Women cannot produce sperm, no matter how much you desire to. So again, back to the main point. Live and let live only works if it's two-sided. And your morality is not moral. Living and let living is not moral. There's a phrase that everyone loves to quote. All that is needed for evil to prosper is that good men do nothing. But here's the true fact. You're not good if you let evil prosper. Or if you're not paying attention. If you're sitting here going about your day and you're not paying attention to what's going on in schools, this is part of the problem I had growing up. My parents, specifically my mother, I love her, but I was always the bad guy. I was the black sheep. When things would go on at my school that even my best friend could tell you actually happened, she would side with the teachers. She would side with the individuals. Why? Because why would a teacher do that? Why would they single out a kid? No, it must be the kid's fault. No, you never investigated. You never saw that. The fact of the matter is that if you do nothing, if you don't research into anything, just as David, biblically speaking, did not look up the requirements of who could touch the Ark of the Covenant, and I'll talk about that in a later time. Just like that, if you don't look up what's right when you have the ability to do so, and if you don't try to prevent the wrong when you have the ability to do so, you are as evil and as complicit as the individual who does do those evil things. If I have the ability to stop a rape and I turn away, or if I decide not to help, on both of those times I am complicit in the rape because I could have done something and I didn't. If somebody is trying to murder somebody else and I don't try to stop them, yes, I am complicit. Live and let live is a complicit mindset. Well, it has nothing to do with me. Yes, it does, because it has to do with your family. It has to do with your kids or your nephews or your friends. So yes, it does have to do with you. And by the time it reaches you to the point you realize it's a problem, it'll be so far gone, you can't do anything to stop it anymore. This is my problem with the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. On both sides, you let the problem go so far that by the time it's time to fix it, there's nothing you can do. It's all done. It's all gone. So with that being said, don't just sit idly by. Nah, don't just sit idly by. Don't just sit here pretending like it doesn't matter. Everything you say, everything you do matters. And if you are voting, know what you're voting for. Stop voting Democrat down the line, Republican down the line. Look at the policies. Look at what they say they plan for. And if they're contradicting themselves, they're dishonest in one way or another. But you can't sit idly by and do nothing. And you can't sit here and vote, which you're making an impact on society, and not know what you're voting for. How many people still believe that the Democrats are not the party of racism and the Republicans are? I mean, even JFK's like great great grandfather or whatever was actually part of the KKK. In the 1964, the what's it called, Civil Rights Act was voted in by Republicans. What we see today, University of Chicago, I don't know if they still have it, but they had a BIPOC and non-POC cafe. BIPOC is not is biracial, indigenous, people of color cafe, and a non-POC is non-people of color cafe. You know what that is in simple terms? A white cafe, whites only, and a colored cafe. How are you any different from the racist? Back to the main point of the morality. If atheists can be moral without God, then how did that happen? How is it there's a school in Georgia that is segregating black and white students? How is it that you have kids over in gay pride parades where they have people in BDSM dog outfits, among others, that they have kids here petting the dogs? There's pictures of this. How is it that you have drag queen story hour where you got people dressed in drag, which is a sexual thing? It's the whole point of a man dressing like a female stripper is a sexual thing, dressing like a woman with the makeup and everything, and you got kids there. Even if it wasn't for the fact that they have videos you can look up if you make the effort of them doing sexual dances, showing off their crotch or their groin while they're dressed like this. The further we get from God, the further we get from morality, and the live and let live mindset is the problem. If you don't know what you're voting for, stop voting. But if you're gonna vote, know what you're voting for and stop voting for people that go against what you're trying to vote for. Stop being a one issue voter. People voted for Democrats in this election because of the abortion law. The law doesn't stop abortions, although it should. Where's the responsibility for the woman prior to the baby? During sex? Where's the responsibility on her to wear protection and have him wear protection? There's 5 different versions of protection that a woman and man could have to prevent a child. IUDs, condoms, birth control pills. You got a whole bunch of stuff to stop the pregnancy. But we want to sit here and be like, oh, well, it's not her fault. She's pregnant. She had sex. Why are we not teaching people to wait for marriage to have sex? First of all, it's better for the relationship. And more importantly, it prevents the murder of children. You always have to deny that it's a child to be okay with that. And actually, no, I take that back. In Colorado, you could have it at the time of labor. You can get an abortion. How you gonna kill a baby at 9 months? Back to the main point. Live and let live is evil. It is an evil mindset bred from ungodliness. Yes, don't attack people because of the difference of mindset, but don't stand here and accept it either. There are people who have actually bombed different clinics. You're just as evil as the people killing the children. It's still murder. But what if we stood up for what's right in our votes? What if we stood up for what's right in our different decisions? What if when somebody uses language like they, them, or uses language that supports their idea, we stop using their language. By using their language, you are supporting their idea. We went from a society where it was split, a man is a man, a woman is a woman, and then you had transgender people who wanted it to be that way. And then now you got even conservative commentators going on here talking about she or he to respectful transgenders. I'm sorry, it's not respectful of me to be forced to conform to your ideals. If you are not born a man, you are not a man. So your pronouns are he, him, whether you like it or not. It's not my job to comfort you. It's not my job to change the English language for you. If I don't know you're a man, if I don't know what you are, that's a confusion thing. And there has only been a couple that have even been able to do that, and that was recent ones, not in the past. It never used to be confusing. But with surgeries and all that, it's allowed it to be confusing. Secondly, when it comes to math and to everything they claim is racist, if you use their language, you are supporting their ideas, whether you intend to or not, because it makes it normalized. So whether we're talking in speech, whether we're talking about action, whether we're talking about mindsets, whether we're talking about accepting or denying something, everything we do has a consequence. And back to the main point, as proven with what I just said, the further you go from God's influence on people, the further you go from morality. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. All right, y'all. Take care. I hope this was insightful. And if you disagree, it's because you don't look at the facts. You're opinion oriented. And an opinion is not a fact. And I'll end it by saying this: there is no your truth, there is no my truth. There is the truth, and there is our opinions. All right, y'all. Take care.